They've been hiding this from you.
Take over their buildings. New York was already there for thousands of years. San Francisco was there for thousands of years. Los Angeles was there for thousands of years. They were built by the indigenous people who were black and Indians as well. The black people, they weren't brought over by slaves. They are the original owners of America. Black people, African Americans. They don't come from Africa. They were already here.
Today, historians no longer can hide the fact that it was not Christopher Columbus who discovered America. How can he be the first man to discover a land where people, rich culture, and history already existed? Being an Italian explorer, when he was reaching America's shore, native people were already there to welcome him. Hence, the fabricated history that Christopher Columbus discovered America does not stand. But if it was not Columbus, then who did really discover America? Fortunately today, we can use the historic records to decide who was the first to reach America. Welcome to a new episode of Black Culture Diary, a channel where we talk about less known and hidden black history, culture, arts, and lost civilization. We scrutinize history here to bring the black culture back on the surface again. In this episode, we will disclose how Africans discovered America before Columbus reached there. Let's get started. Until now, various groups have claimed their own historical connections to the discovery of America. Since a strong historic record of who discovered America first does not exist, people have tried to give their own version of records. Interestingly, these accounts are also backed up by evidence. Hence, our job is to see which person or group of people reached America for the very first time. But you have to know the various accounts people give. The Vikings, for example, point to their colonization of Iceland and Greenland over 1,000 years ago. Leif Erikson, a Viking, is believed to have stumbled upon new lands during his journey to convert Greenland to Christianity. The Irish claim involves Saint Brendan, an Irish monk who, in the 6th century, is said to have sailed to America in his coracle, a traditional boat, and discovered distant lands thousands of kilometers away. The Welsh claim is linked to Madog ab Owain, who is believed to have landed in America in the year 1170. There is also the Scottish claim attributed to Henry Sinclair, the Earl of Orkney, who is said to have reached Westford, Massachusetts in 1398. These stories of discovery often capture popular imagination but obscure the true beginning of the story of how Africans were forcibly brought to American soil. It is important to acknowledge that African history has been largely erased from mainstream historical narratives. However, it is essential to examine the evidence and consider facts, rather than dismissing the idea outright. Facts can change based on various factors, but evidence remains uncontradicted, uncontroverted, and irrefutable. That's where Africans' version of American discovery comes, which is more striking and backed up by strong evidence. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. Contrary to popular belief, there is evidence that Africans had connections to the Americas before Columbus. However, further exploration of this history is necessary to gain a more complete understanding of the complex interactions between different cultures and peoples throughout history. It is crucial to understand that American history did not begin with slavery. If this is considered true, it means that Africans came to America as slaves captured from Africa. You should note that this incident has to take place after America was established, which rules out Africans' presence in America before it was discovered. Hence, here, it should be made clear that American history did not begin with slavery. A growing body of evidence suggests that Africans had been sailing across the Atlantic to the Americas long before Columbus, and even before other civilizations. One of the strongest pieces of evidence comes from an account by Columbus himself. In 1920, a renowned historian and linguist named Leo Vina from Harvard University explained in his book, Africa and the Discovery of America, that Columbus noted in his journal how Native Americans had confirmed the presence of black-skinned people. These dark-skinned people had come from the southeast in boats, engaging in trade and possessing gold-tipped spears. Columbus even sent samples of these spears back to Spain, where they were found to have similar properties to those being forged in West African Guinea. While the eyewitness accounts of early European explorers provide valuable evidence of African presence in the New World before Columbus, they are not the only evidence. By examining a map of the world, one can observe the almost perfect fit between the west coast of Africa and the east coast of South America. The proximity of these two land masses is significant. The closest tips of each continent are less than 3,000 kilometers apart, making Africa the closest inhabited area to the Americas. Additionally, the Cape Verde Islands off the coast of Africa could have served as a suitable restocking station for sailors, reducing the distance of the journey to South America to about 2,500 kilometers. While it may seem unlikely or far-fetched to imagine African explorers crossing the vast Atlantic in ships, it is important to recognize that ancient African boats, including dugout canoes, were capable of such voyages. These boats did not require rudders or sails and could have crossed the ocean in a matter of weeks. Prevailing wind patterns and ocean currents that blow from Africa to South America played a significant role in making these voyages possible. It is worth noting that these same winds and currents were later utilized by Europeans during the transatlantic slave trade to ship enslaved Africans. Africans were skilled shipbuilders, as evidenced by archaeological findings. For example, a painting derived from Nubian pottery dating back to 3000 BCE shows a long-hulled boat, papyrus raft, or dugout canoe. Another painting from Chad, dating back to 3500 BCE, depicts a bird's-eye view of a Nile River boat. All this suggests how skilled Africans were in building ships powerful enough to take them to distant lands. These pieces of evidence challenge the traditional narrative and point to the possibility of Africans exploring and reaching the Americas before Columbus. It is essential to delve deeper into this history and examine the complex interactions between different cultures and peoples throughout time. The Africans from Guinea had skillfully crafted dugout canoes made from the strong garganton trees found in the Congo forest. Portuguese explorers, like Captain Pacheco Pereira, discovered these impressive canoes, some of which could carry up to 80 men. It's worth noting that similar types of vessels used by Polynesians to sail to the Americas are not questioned for their seaworthiness. Even though some people doubt that Africans had the skills and resources to sail across the Atlantic, a 15th century Portuguese painting depicting sailing canoes in the Congo River proves otherwise. This challenges the notion that Africans couldn't have made it to the New World. Furthermore, the recent discovery of American narcotics in Egyptian mummies has astounded historians. Compounds such as South American cocaine and nicotine found in these mummies suggest that the transatlantic trade had brought these substances to Africa, potentially thousands of years before Columbus arrived. This really is striking and irrefutable evidence. To further support the argument, the Olmecs, a civilization that predates other advanced civilizations in the Americas, were uncovered by archaeologists in the early 1870s. They are well known for their carved stone heads found in central Mexico, which bear a distinctly African appearance. These colossal statues, ranging from 30 to 40 tons in weight and up to 11 feet in height, depict helmeted black men with African facial features such as broad noses, full lips, and Ethiopian-style braided hair. These statues are believed to represent priest-kings who governed vast territories in Mesoamerica during the Olmec period. Historian Floyd Hayes questions why these ancient Olmec artists would accurately depict African features if Africans were not present in the Americas before Columbus. It defies logic and artistic experience to suggest that they could depict such details of African physiognomy without ever having seen it before. Interestingly, despite this glaring evidence, European archaeologists in Mexico have attributed the Olmec statues to various explanations, including giant babies, monkeys, and even aliens, anything but acknowledging their African origins. These pieces of evidence challenge the narrow narratives that have excluded Africans from early exploration and civilizations in the Americas. It is important to examine the historical record with an open mind and consider the possibilities that go beyond conventional assumptions. Unfortunately, this information remains largely unknown to the general public. For years, the suppression of alternative historical narratives has silenced researchers who bring forth evidence that contradicts the accepted history. What do you think? Why historians glorified Christopher Columbus and attributed him to America's discovery? Isn't it logical to decide he wasn't the first man to discover America? Let us know your opinion on this.
The first Statue of Liberty was a black woman, called Lady Liberty in 1848. Rejected by USA, she is from Gold Coast.
And I got the real Indians with me, man. We going crazy right now. Whoa! I'm in New Orleans. This is our culture. You know, the Indians, we going crazy right now.
You don't have to try to be something you're not.
Trying to be something I'm not? Trying to be proud of my African heritage? That's being something I'm not, then fine.
My grandmother was a full-blooded Iroquois.
I know all of that, Mama.
Then, no, listen. I am alive because of the blood of the people who never scraped or begged or apologized for what they were. They asked only one thing of this world, to be allowed to be.
It broke my heart when you changed your name. I gave you my grandmother's name, a woman who bore 9 children and educated them all. Who held off 6 white men with a shotgun when they tried to drag one of her sons off to jail for not knowing his place. And you had to reach into an African dictionary to find a name that would make you proud.
24 other saviors. But I'll just talk about the 3 that I just named. Let's check this out for a moment. Now, I'm talking about stories that predate the Christian story by thousands of years. You listen and take it to your own mental court of law and y'all tell me what you come up with. No, don't tell me nothing. You tell yourself what you come up with. Let's go to the first one. Everybody say Horus. H-O-R-U-S. You may want to write it down. Horus, or the original name was Heru, H-E-R-U. His father's name was Osiris. The stories of Jesus and Horus are identical. Let me tell you something about Horus. Who did I say I'm talking about now? Horus. Horus was born of a virgin.
Yes, sir.
Her name was Aset or Isis. Horus was born on December 25th in a cave or manger, which we stood in while we were in Kemet, by the way. When Horus was born, his birth was announced by a star in the east.
Yes, sir.
And 3 wise men came to his birth. Second parallel. When Horus was a child, at 12 years old, he was a teacher in the temples in Kemet. When Horace was 30 years old, he was baptized by the Egyptian priest Anup, A-N-U-P, who of course becomes John the Baptist in the Bible. Horace Heru had 12 disciples. Horace, I'm talking about 6,000 years BC. How long ago did I say? 6,000 years BC. Horace performed miracles and raised a man from the dead. And the man who he raised from the dead, y'all guess what his name was? Let me tell you. Lazarus. Lazarus, who became Lazarus in the Bible. Horace walked on water. Horace, 6,000 years BC, was transfigured on a mountain in front of his disciples. Horace was crucified. Osiris Horus was crucified and buried in a tomb and resurrected 3 days later. Osiris Horus was known as the way, the truth, and the life. He was called the Messiah. Osiris Horus was called God's anointed son. He was called the Son of Man. He was called the Good Shepherd. He was also called the Lamb of God. Osiris Horus also had the title of the Fisher.
They've been hiding this from you. The Vatican archives aren't just old documents. They hold proof of ancient gods with advanced technology. But that's not even the craziest thing that was recently discovered. In leaked Vatican correspondence, there are hints of hidden texts saying, "These writings contain knowledge forbidden to the public." The archives have been guarded for centuries, so what are they hiding? This is where things get scary. In newly revealed whistleblower accounts, it's said that the Vatican archives aren't just historical records, but contain evidence of an advanced ancient civilization known as the Viracochas. The accounts specifically mention that the Viracochas, worshipped as gods, left behind documents and artifacts that detail advanced technologies and lost histories. However, once these documents were found, their contents were concealed, and the true history of the Viracochas was hidden to maintain the Church's control over historical narratives. This explains why access to the Vatican archives is so restricted and why the contents remain one of the world's most guarded secrets.
Later on went into the text that the Roman government gave Paul to translate from Coptic and Greek into the Bible. Paul. The Bible is 98% Paul's invention. You see what I'm saying? The Bible mythology is 98% Josephus and Paul and another group of scholars coming together and inventing it. You see what I'm saying? Not saying that the Christ and all of the actual mythology is not real and just it is not legitimate, but the way they presented it and the way they put it together, they made like it was some miracle that just came up 2,000 years ago, and basically it was a summary of all the other ancient stuff that they summarized down. And the first couple of books were some good books. The Schofield Bible, the Latin Gate Bible, the Septuagint Bible and all those, but by the time the Conference of Nicaea came, they took some books out. Now, the stuff that they took out is the stuff that we're interested in now. The stuff that they took out was the differences between different races and the differences between two races. Now, we're talking about stuff that is ancient and old, so as a result, we have here the Hermetic text. This one is a prophecy of what's going to happen to black people behind, to the T, in this prophecy. And the reason why I say you can get, and we got two of these, we have the prophecy that's what's going to happen. All those is a greater prophecy, and I can only...
This black woman owns the entire United States of America. They know it, and to keep her quiet, they had to give her Monroe, Louisiana. When is she going to be in town? Anybody know when the Empress is coming? Thanksgiving, right? Yeah, Thanksgiving. This woman owns the entire United States up into Canada. Now, the key to this whole shit is it got past all your Afrocentric scholars. Why? Because the white man gave them what they wanted them to learn. And so now y'all taking thousands of trips to Africa, and you didn't know that in actuality, this was a black man, the black land from Lemuria. And when the white man got here, black people's over here, and the reason why they kicked the Indians in the ass to this day is because the Indians didn't own this land. That's why they can front like that. They gave you more privileges than the damn Native Americans. Why they begging and pleading with you, even though they still kicking you in the behind? But the key to the whole thing is you own the land. The Indian was a nomadic tribe that didn't own it. It was raw black people that owned it, and most of your Indians that you see, some of them are black people. That's a fake thing that they show you on TV. And it was the Washita Nation, and then this got past all of that. Now I'm going to say some more things about this Empress, because the Empress shows up. Number one, I meet up with this cosmic messenger called the Book of Law. The same day I meet this person called Awas. He's in the Book of Law, which is the second version of the Book of Coming Forth by Day. And we know the Empress Vertice shows up in the fucking book. And when I get the spiritual channel, they say that's the Empress.
How many people have been knowing that the tradition of king and queen in America, the emperor and empress of America, we were the one doing that? None. When the last time you see Black Hollywood, these so-called Hollywood celebrities, ever make a movie about showing you about this emperor and this queen? Huh? Never, because they hide these truths, and they have claws too. They make sure these celebrities don't step foot in Haiti. They make sure the only celebrity that went to Haiti, they literally just castrated him, Kanye. Okay? And so many other ones went in secrecy, because that's a clause out there. Do not go out there and give people ideas and make people feel like they can get to know more. It's a no-go. This is what we have here. Now, ask yourself this. As the so-called, the white supremacy agenda, show me one white person that was a queen as a woman. Show me one white person that was a king or emperor or empress as a person. And we supposed to be the slaves? Make it make sense. All of it is fabricated. All of it is fabricated timeline. They pervert the timeline to get us confused, so we never know the exact time and date. Because within their timeline, this is supposed to be 1849. Let me say this shit again. And this, their timeline, based on their so-called false education system, because it's not educating nobody, it's educating you. They said this is supposed to be 1848. No, 49. And 1849, the U.S. has been literally so-called was already been born since the 1776. So if the U.S. is already born since then, it's close to 100 years prior to these folks proclaiming to be emperor. How they allowed that, though? How the so-called U.S., almighty U.S., allowed a bunch of slaves to give themselves title that's beyond themselves? Let me say this again. How the slaves claim a title that's beyond their masters? How that happened? Why their masters didn't claim that title before they do? Because it's a lie. That's what you call pervert the timeline. They playing with the timeline. So now, as we are done with this, let me show you the transfer of power that's happened in our faces in the regular. Isaiah.
We got to change our cult and occult thinking. that you got to come under something, attach yourself to somebody to feel that you are of importance, but that's not what this whole thing is about. I don't want nobody following me, unless you following me to get some jewels and get some good spiritual food on your plate so you can get fed like you need to be fed. And anybody that's charging you for your birthright, it is your right to know, run, because you should have to pay for nothing. It's your right to know who you are. And if nobody is talking about that you're a metaphysical and you are a spirit housed in a body, you in skin school. Y'all understand what I'm saying? You in skin school in this dimension right here. And you don't know what happened to you, because when you came out of your mama's womb, the first thing they did to you and me and the rest of us is put a light on us, spanked us. And so that was the trauma that first started right there. Put all the stuff in your eyes and cut you from your mama's cord. And so we lost consciousness. But all of that is changing if you have the ability to let go of the world thinking and how you think about you and how you see yourself. You cannot no longer be in the physical and the material world that is ego. Your ego is in the way. You gotta, if you're not ready to let go and tap onto the metaphysical side of yourself, your spirit side of yourself first, then this ain't the place for you to be. Go on back out there and write your story some more. And when you get tired, then you come back. We'll be here when you get back, because we're not going back. I know I'm not. I done paid my dues to sit in the seat that I'm sitting in. Get to your seat and sit in your seat as God's. Get in your place, get in your lane, and mind your own business while everybody minding theirs, because everybody got a part in the awakening of this planet. And nobody's position is more important than anybody else. We need each other. And so we ain't gonna have no more of that fighting and hating on each other, because I'm about peace and love and happiness and helping each other to raise our vibratory frequency so we can transition on into the 5th dimension. Now let me
Thanks for watching. This video is for entertaining only, but if you know you know.